Hey, what is up, guys? Gangster Jeweler here. So today we're going to be working on, I guess we're going to make this a we might do two pieces in one video here, but we got one here that's just a pop chain, pretty long pop chain. These feel like they're hollow links. Look like hollow links. They might not be though. But it feels, I'm pretty sure they're hollow links, so it's pretty light. But now here's the, holy shit balls. Alright. Now here's the deal. We got to size this ring. You can see it looks like it's been crushed or bent or whatever. But before we do anything, if you look right there, there's a stone missing. So I don't know if they want that replaced or not. It doesn't say anything about replacing it. It just says size to a 5.5, which we're going to have to round this back out. But I don't know, depending on this, because this store's been pretty good with me. I might just replace it and not charge them, possibly, because they've been pretty good to me. So, oh boy, I'm not really sure on this one, guys. But we need to size it to a 5.5. But first, before we do that, we got to round it out and find out exactly what size it even is. So we're going to use our rubber mallet here to do some rounding out. I call it a rubber mallet. Somebody corrected me the other day. It says like a rawhide, which that's what it is. Rawhide mallet, which is exactly what it is. But I call it a rubber mallet. Man, somebody fucked this ring up. Somebody legit fucked this thing up. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Alright. Damn, now we're going to have to tap on the top here a little bit. We're going to have to tap on the top where the stones are, because that part's kind of bent too. And we're probably going to lose some more stones, unfortunately. Which I think we already have. There's just no way around it because this top part was bent too. So the seats on a lot of these stones are messed up. It's not a big deal. We can fix it. We can fix it. It's just going to be a bitch. Main thing is we got to get it rounded out first. The way that was bent, there just wasn't no way you were not gonna lose some stones. Now we already had one that was already missing before we started, which I showed you guys, but now it looks like we're gonna have, let me zoom you in. Looks like we're missing one more now, right there. So this one was missing already before we started. Now we're missing one right here. But here again, with the way that was bent up in the head like that, there's just no way around it, you know? There's just no way around it. You might lose some stones. Hopefully you got a drawer at the bottom, you can catch them, which is what I got. And if you can't find the stones, you better have some to replace it. But after we get it sized, I'll go looking for I'll see if I can find that stone that came out in the drawer somewhere here. Ooh boy. It's getting a little more rounded at least. But if we can size it and only lost one stone out of that one side, we're doing pretty damn good. Especially being that it was all bent up in this area here too. So I don't know what happened to this thing, man, but something big happened to it. And tapping on the top with the stones are with the rubber mallet isn't going to hurt it. Don't want to use this. Use this, you're probably going to shatter the stones. Your ball peen hammer. But we want to get it rounded and sized before we go putting stones back into it. So we're about at 8.5. So this is going to go down quite a bit. Okay, yeah. So you see we got it rounded back out fairly well. And we've only managed to lose one other stone, unfortunately. But that was going to be kind of hard not to do. We already had that one missing. Now we have one here missing. But it was bent up in here in the head. So it was going to be kind of hard not to lose another stone or two. But not a big deal. Like I said, once we get it sized, we can reset those stones. And that one, I should charge them for the one that was already missing, but I'm going to do them a solid on this one. These guys have they've always been good to me, so I'm going to do them a solid on this one. Alright, we got that pretty much rounded out now. So that's an 8.5. 8.5. 8.5. Okay. So now that we got that rounded out, and still just those two stones missing, which ain't a big deal. Now we're going down to 5.5, so I think that's what it says. Yeah, 5.5. We're at 8.5 right now, so we need to go 1, 2, 3 sizes. Wowzers. Okay. Alright, well, let's go ahead and do that real quick. I don't know if I'm going to film the stone setting part because I was kind of going to film the 2 repairs and I wasn't really planning on having to set stones, but I don't know, we might film that as well if I got enough room on the camera here. What we need to do is find our markers. I know some of you guys bitch about my desk and my tools, but my tools, pretty much all of them are over 20 years old. And my desk is my desk how I like it, so everybody's different on how they want their, their stuff set up and stuff, so not a big deal. Although some of you make a big deal out of it, I don't know why. Like, desk is a clutter. It's like, I know, dude, but I like having all my shit in one central location, because otherwise I lose it. But I know some of you have been busting my balls about clean your desk up a little bit. I'm like, bro, who gives a shit what it looks like? It's what the finished product looks like, man. I know some of you guys are already saying right now, well, that's why you can't find your freaking ring sizer things. I know, I get it. Trust me, I get it. There they are, finally. Oh yeah, that's right. Those were stuck together. Alright, we're going down 3 sizes. So that says 2 3/4, but this is the 3 behind it. But they've kind of got stuck together. So the 3 sticks out further than the 2 3/4, so it don't really matter. We could still mark it. So let's go ahead and mark our 3 sizes. There we go. And you see we got our 2 lines, one there and one there. If you got a jeweler saw, use it. If you got clippers, cut them if you got them. Just cut them right at the line. You know, I know some jewelers have got perfection, like, hey, you know, it's got to be exactly right at this. You got to cut it exactly fine. It's like, no, you really don't. I've been doing it that way for 30 years and I've never had a problem. But like I said, everybody does things differently. You know, I'm showing you the basics, but you're going to find that you do things a little bit different. There's nothing set in stone. Nothing says you have to do it the way I do it. I'm just giving you the basics. Now we're going to file down these sides here. There we go. That's a real bitch that we already had 1 stone missing, and then we got one extra one that came out, but we knew that was probably going to happen with the way that thing was all bent up. Not a big deal. At least it's starting to look a little more like a ring again. So we're going down 3 sizes. Wow. And they should have a diamond replaced, or I should charge them for the one that was missing and replace the one that came out when we finished rounding it out. But like I said, this store has been pretty, they've always treated me right, and I'm probably just going to do them a solid and replace that one and not charge them, even though it was already missing beforehand. But I'll do them a solid. They've done me a solid several times. Alright, let's go ahead and put this in boric acid denatured alcohol here. Dip the whole ring in. We're going to be using a 5-tip on our torch here. If we can find a 5-tip. There we go. 5-tip. And then let's light her up. Set her on fire. That puts a nice fire coating over it. And we're going to adjust our flame here a little bit. Alright, let's go ahead and cut us some solder. Cut us a piece of solder there. Get us some flux. Put us a little flux on there. And now for the fun part. Let me zoom you guys in here. Let me adjust the camera a little bit. Need to get it set up a little higher. Alright, let's look for our... Damn it, where'd the solder go? See, that's the problem, is like I'm looking through the camera, and then when I set it down, and then I go to look out of the camera, I can't find the freaking thing. Well, that might be it right there. Let's see. Yep, that's it right there. Okay. So let's go ahead and heat it up back and forth. Get our flux to burn off a little bit. Don't want to burn it all off, but let's drop our solder on there. There we go. It is welded back together. Now you see all that smoke that's still coming off of there? I cleaned this ring, or I tried to clean it, but it still had a lot of like lotion and shit. That's just that lotion and stuff burning off on the inside there. But we got her welded. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. We'll go ahead and dip it in water because they're diamonds. We're not too worried about them shattering. So let's go ahead and look at what we're working with here. Yep, solder went all the way through. So now we need to round it back out again now that we got it welded. But we don't have to beat on the top here because this is straight. We just got to do the sides and the bottom, get it rounded back out. So we'll go ahead and... Well, ain't that a biatch? We might have to cut more out of it, guys. Ain't that a bitch? Alright. Yep. Figured that was going to happen. Okay. So apparently it still had some more rounded out need to do. It must have been bigger than a 8.5. Must have been more like a 9. Because we welded it, we rounded it back out. We're sitting at like 5 3/4. So we need to take another quarter size out of there. What a bitch. Not a biggie, just a pain. Alright, so let's go ahead and mark a quarter size. And let's go ahead and cut the quarter size out of there again. We got our 2 marks there. They're fairly close together because we don't have to cut a whole lot out of it. I just had a feeling something like that was going to happen, but hey, you never know. That's why I always say sometimes repairs don't go the way you plan them. Kind of like before I started filming this video, I wasn't really planning on having to set stones because I figured it was a weld chain and sizing, but it did turn out to be some stones as well. So let's go ahead and file these sides back down again. We're just going to repeat the same process. We just didn't cut enough out. And that could be because it wasn't fully rounded before we cut it. But not a big deal. So let's go ahead and push her down. Remember, you want them to meet flush. And I know some of you veterans out there that are watching, I don't care how long you've been doing this, man. Sometimes that happens, man. I know y'all know what I'm talking about. You size a ring down and you don't cut enough out. And I know you guys have had that happen to you a time or two. And I don't care how long you've been doing it, it'll still happen to you occasionally. But it's not a big deal. Not a huge deal. Alright, let me go ahead and light this thing back up. Burn that boric acid denatured alcohol off. And while that's burning off, let's cut us another piece of solder. Now I can't tell you how many times that I have had the boric acid burning and the flame coming up, and I reach over to grab my pliers and singe the hair off my arms. I've done that a time or two. And I don't care who you are, when you're doing this, at some point, 2 things are going to happen. You're going to burn yourself. You're going to burn yourself, and you're going to cut yourself. Let me zoom you guys in here. Yeah, you're going to burn yourself or you're going to cut yourself. It's just going to happen. Well, it might help if we put some flux on it, though. That might help, too. Alright, take 2, guys. Yeah, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do those 2 repairs in one video now that we got stones we got to replace as well. There we go. Get it welded back. Let's go ahead and cool it off in the water. They're diamonds, so we're not too worried about them shattering or anything crazy. Alright, we got her welded back again. Oh, that sucks. You know what, though? I think I see it right. Nope, I don't see it. Yeah, this ring has turned into a real piece of shit. With that head being messed up. Because now we got 3 that are out. So now you have 1 here that's out. And 2 over here that are out. And that's because this head was bent oblong, like pushed in. And we knew at some point that was... I knew stones were going to come out. I just didn't know how many. I was hoping we can limit it down. But we got 2... We had 1 that was already missing. We got 2 extras that are out now. After we get it sized, I'll try to see if I can find them in my desk. If not, I got stones to replace it. No big deal. But just know that if you're starting out and you have a ring where the head is bent like that, once you round it back out, you're going to lose a couple stones. You're not going to lose all of them, but you're going to lose some of them. So that's just something you got to keep in mind. And 2, something I didn't think about, now that I think about it, is that smoke that y'all seen that I was saying is lotion. It could be glue too. I wonder if those stones maybe were glued in there. There's no telling. Either way, we're going to get it straight, but still. I knew this ring was going to be a little bit of a problem. Just because of how it was bent up in the head like that. Alright guys. We're not going to do any more tapping because we are sitting at like a tight 5.5 right now, coming all the way from 8.5 down here. So we went down quite a bit. 5.5. Okay. So now what we're gonna have to do, that sucks. Yeah, so you got 1 there. That one was already missing, and then this one and this one came out as we were rounding it back out, but no big deal. All right, let's go ahead and get this file down on the inside, then we'll file it down on the outside and get the shank back to even again. And we're not going to do any more tapping because we got a lot of cleaning and polishing we still got to do. So okay. Kind of filed the inside down. Let's go ahead and file the outside of the ring down now. Shit, even the shank is kind of wobbled a little bit. Let's see. Let's do some tapping over here, kind of straighten the shank out a little bit. I don't know what they did to this ring, but we're going to be able to save it at least. It was pretty badly damaged. But we are going to be able to save it. 5.5. 5.5. Alright, let's go ahead and file down the outside of the shank. But yeah, if you got a ring that's bent up in the head like that, where the stones are, it's almost going to be impossible to not loosen or have some come out. There's just no way around it when it's bent up in the head like that. Now, if you're just starting out and you're not used to sizing rings or doing anything like that or setting stones, I would say just don't even attempt it. Don't even try it. I would probably turn that down. When you're starting out, it's always better to be safe than sorry. But I already knew what we were getting into with this one, so not a big deal. We're just filing the sides down now of the shank. Want to blend it in because, like I said, you don't want it to the goal is you shouldn't be able to tell where it was welded or cut. Alright, let's run across the top, kind of smooth these corners out here. Alright, let's go ahead and I need to run this over the top a little bit. Kind of bend that top in a little. Not bend, I mean blend. Alright, let's go ahead and smooth. Grab our silicone wheel and smooth the inside and the outside and the sides of the ring. And then we're probably going to drop it in ultrasound, and then we're going to have to, while it's in the ultrasound, I'm going to look and see if I can find the stones that came out. If I can't, not a big deal. We'll replace them. Like I said, one was already missing, and I already knew there was a chance we were going to lose more just because it was bent in the head. And like I said, I should charge her for the one that was already missing, but this stores they've been good to me, so we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it on us. Alright, got the inside looking pretty good. Alright, let's go ahead and swap and get the outside and the sides done. Get them smoothed out. Alright guys, let's go ahead and hit the side of the ring now. But I'm sure that whoever's ring this is, they'll be happy that we were able to save it for. Alright, let's go ahead and hit the other side here. Well, who knows, maybe her husband will be happy that that we saved it for him. He'll probably be like, thank you, Jesus. Alright guys, so we got it smooth and ready to polish, but before we can polish it though, we're going to have to let's check our size one more time. 5.5, 5.5. Before we go polish it though, we're going to have to set these stones. That one was already missing. These two come out from straightening the ring out from the head being bent inward like this. Well, you can go back to the beginning of the video and see how the head was bent inward, you know, like this. But I'm going to go drop this on ultrasound and let it clean. I'm going to see if I can find those other two stones. If I can't, no biggie. But we'll be right back, guys. Alright guys, we're back with that ring. So we got it clean and polished. Not polished, I mean we got it clean, sized. Got it sized to a 5.5. Now we need to see about replacing some stones. So I couldn't find the other two that came out, and then the one was already missing. So not a big deal though. Like I said, I already knew that was going to happen. Now if you're just starting out and you got a ring that's all bent up in the head like that, I don't even recommend trying to do it, especially if you don't have experience with setting stones or you hadn't really done a lot of repairs and you're just starting out. I wouldn't really recommend trying to do something like this. But on the other hand, if you are experienced, you know, you kind of already know that that's the risk. The risk you're gonna have with come on, get out of there. Get the hell out of there. You know that's gonna happen. Like I already had it in my head. I knew stones were coming out. I just didn't know how many. And we didn't do too bad. We only had 2 come out. And I checked all the other ones, and they're nice and tight in there. So it was just those 2 that were loose once we rounded it back out, unfortunately. All right. Now with the way the settings are on this, if the stones are the right size, it should just kind of snap in there. But sometimes it doesn't always go the way you plan it. Sometimes it just doesn't go the way you plan it. And that's okay, you know. Oh yeah, that'll fit in there good, I think. Let's go and see if we can get that to set down in there for this one stone here. Need to be able to get that to turn somehow. It might be a little too big. Might be a little bit too big, guys. But yeah, I think whoever's ringed this is, they'll be happy we were able to save it, because it was pretty mashed up there. Come on, get out of there. Sometimes you got to smack it around to get the stones out of there once you set it in there. But that might be a little bit too big for that slot there. Come on, get out of there. Oh, now it wants to try to sit in there. Really? Alright, let's see. Sorry guys, I'm trying to keep you focused. It's kind of hard to keep you guys in focus when we're setting stones, because I can't really look through the camera and I can't tell if you guys are seeing what I'm seeing, because I got to look a little more closely at it. Alright, let's see if that's too big. Yeah, that's too big. Let's try this. Come on, push your ass down in there. Alright, that one's just not going to work. It's a little too big. Let me see if it'll work for some of these other ones, though. Nah, it's going to be too big. Let's see what we got to work with here. If we can't find anything in this tray, we'll have to switch to a different tray. Take a look at that. See what color that is. That looks like shit. That stone looks like shit. Damn, that one looks like shit too. Too big. Too big. All right. Next tray, please. Next tray. Oh no, that might be too big. Can't really tell it right this second. But I'm thinking it's too big. Yeah, too big. That might work. Maybe. And we dropped it. We dropped it. What a bitch. Let me look at this one. There we go. Let's see if we can make that one fit, possibly. Or maybe not. Yeah, it's gonna be too big for that one. Let's try it over here. Like I said, I was hoping we weren't gonna have to do this, but I kind of pretty much knew this is what it was gonna be. Come on, get out of there. Get out of there. Thank you. Okay, let's see. No, it ain't gonna work either. Yeah, the longest part is going to be trying to find stones that fit in the right color match. Like I said, we got one here that we should charge for, but we're not going to. We're not going to do it. Now, I will say if this was another store, one of my not so favorite stores, I guess you could say. Ones I've tried to get rid of and they still keep calling me. Those I would have charged them. I would have called them and said, hey man, you got a stone missing? This is what it's going to be to replace it. And then obviously the other two that were going to come out, we wouldn't have charged for that because that's not on them. That's on us. But like I said, we already knew that was most likely going to happen. That we already knew. You bitch. Nah. Alright. Just keep looking, guys. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to film this. If this ends up being too long, I'm going to have to set the stones and then come back with the finished product when it's polished. Because this is turning out to be a much longer video than I had planned. That shit ain't gonna work either. Alright guys, I know this is gonna be boring, me trying to find stones, but anyways, I'm gonna look for stones. I'm gonna replace the 3 that are missing, and then I'm gonna polish it, and then we'll come back and look at the finished product, guys. Okay, I'll be right back. Alright guys, we're back with that ring. You can see we got the one stone that was already missing replaced. We got the other 2 that came out from when we had to round the head back out. But we got all our stones back in. We got the ring straight. We got it sized to a 5.5. Looks 1,000 times better than when we got it, huh? But this one took a little more work than I thought. I'm sorry I wasn't able to film the stone setting part. I've got a bunch of other videos of stone setting. They're basically the same thing. You can go back and watch those. But my camera just wasn't going to do the whole thing. Like I said, it wound up taking a little longer than I had planned. And my camera didn't exactly have a full charge on it. So, but we got all the one stone that was already missing. I'm not going to charge them for it. And the other 2, they came out because the head was bent inward. And we had to round it back out. So I kind of already knew that was going to happen. But we got it all sized and straight again. But this is the Gangster Jeweler, guys. If you would like to subscribe, that would be fantastic. If you'd like to leave a tip or donation, you can. The link for that will be down in the description. Although it's not required, just kind of helps the channel grow and show some love. Also, trying to keep my fingerprints off of it. Also, if you would like to buy jewelry in the Jacksonville area, I highly recommend Money Miser on Blanding Boulevard. And if not, if you're looking to buy jewelry online, I highly recommend Stellar Jewelry, which I have a link for that down in the description. But let me get you guys zoomed in here. It looks a hell of a lot better than what we had, huh, guys? A hell of a lot better. A lot better than when we got it. But anyways, we got it sized to 5.5. Also, if you want to check out my Kick live stream, it's more of like a reaction channel type stream. I'll have the link for that down in the description, and then also my other YouTube channel where I also stream live reactions, and that's kind of where my live reactions go. But you can catch me on YouTube or Kick on that other channel. I usually try to stream around 8 p.m., somewhere between 8 and 9 p.m. If I can, every day. But I can't always, but I try to. But at any rate, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in. This one was a little bit more complicated than we would have liked, but nothing too crazy. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Also, if you want to, don't forget to like us. God dang it, my voice is trying to cut out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And that's another repair down, guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate you guys rocking with me. A lot of my loyal subscribers, Jesus Christ, I can't even talk. A lot of my loyal subscribers, what the fuck? Jeez. Anyways, a lot of my loyal subscribers, man, you guys are real G's, man. But I appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you guys tuning in. But this is the Gangster Jeweler, guys. And I will see you on the next one. Take care, y'all.